time agreed to diplomatic talks with Hamas. Now, that means that the Trump administration is not being hypocritical when they say to make a peace deal, you need to speak to both sides. Today, once again on Redacted, it's great to see you. What do you think of this diplomatic step forward, possibly, between Hamas and Israel?
The reported ties, communication between the Trump administration and Hamas, is that came out in Austria?
Yes. Do you think then that the Trump administration will be able to broker a peace between Hamas if they actually are bringing Hamas to the table for the first time ever?
I mean, I think it's a great move. I think only one in his administration that we can see is extremely pro-Israel, maybe to a fault. But so only he could do it. And what I wonder actually is if some of this didn't come out of the very long conversation on the telephone that President Trump had with Russian President Putin, because not only is it reported that these talks with Hamas have started, but there is talking to Iran directly with the help of Russia. Now, you can see heads exploding in Israel if this happens, if they're talking to Hamas, Iran. It's going to be an explosion. It's going to be a nightmare for Netanyahu, I think, about these talks by spying on the Trump administration. But they were our best friends and allies. I can't believe they would do such a thing.
We've spoken to FBI agents who've told us that, of course, and former members of the CIA that have said that no, when you have a meeting with folks from Israel, you do not do it in a building. You do it like out of a secure facility because they can't be trusted. Is basically what they told us. That we have a friendly relationship with the CIA, with Mossad, with Israel.
But he said, don't take their gifts. They give you flowers and there's a spy bug inside.
Don't ever accept a gift from them because there'll be a bug inside of it. I mean, this is the kind of people, these are your friends.
Bibi gave him a pager. That worries the hell out of me. What's in that? Forget about a bug.
And for Gaza, like no one wants to be a part of that. Moving people out of the north so that they can continue massive bombing campaigns. Like, okay, where do you think the President Trump is going to come down on that?
Well, this Zelensky, isn't he? Because they had a deal. They were sent over. They were given a deal. They signed a deal. Phase 2 was supposed to start. Phase 2 involves the complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza and the release of the rest of the hostages. So Netanyahu is now desperate to delay Phase 2 from starting. He's asked for, I think, a 45-day pause in Phase 2, what have you, because he knows that the right wing in Israel is going to be coming for his rear end if he follows through with the deal. But then on the other side, the U.S. is going to be coming for him if he thumbs his nose at the deal, just like we're doing with Zelensky with the stupid mineral deal. So he really is between a rock and a hard place on this. I don't know where he goes. And if he decides to start bombing northern Gaza, what the hell is left to bomb? What's he going to bomb? The stuff he's already bombed doesn't make any sense.
Right. One of the things that States is totally fine with their siege on foreign aid. No aid can get into Gaza, and we're allowing them to stop that. We sent them weapons earlier in this week. Marco Rubio announced that on the Secretary of State page. So would the Trump administration actually leverage weapons shipments to Israel the way we're doing with Ukraine? That seems bonkers to think that we would ever play tough in that regard with Israel.
Yeah, it would be definitely hard to see, and it would be difficult for Trump to get it through. But on the other hand, I think only Trump could get it through. And I hate to be sanguine about the whole thing, but Trump could say, look, I am the best friend of Israel. He says it over and over again, but I want to stop this damn war, like he's done with Ukraine. I want to stop the killing. I don't know that he could do it, but I wonder if he's the only person right now who could do it.
And I have it on good authority that President Trump is not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu. Like, he is not, I'm sure maybe you've heard it similarly as well, and doesn't like to be played this way. So I think a lot of people were wondering, like, how long would this little charade of like hugging and kissing go on until rubber meets the road? So we'll have to see here. But if Trump asked for a ceasefire, and this is the plan laid out by his team, and now Netanyahu. This is reported by Scott Horton. Okay, Thomas Massie has been very outspoken about the Israel lobby buying up most of the politicians in Washington, all but a few. Thomas Massie, of course, refuses to take money from AIPAC. Scott Horton reporting Israel's lobby launches a preemptive war on Thomas Massie by James Rushmore. Republican Jewish Coalition CEO Matt Brooks told Jewish Insider if Thomas Massie chooses to enter the race for the United States Senate in Kentucky to replace Mitch McConnell, the RJC campaign budget to ensure he's defeated will be unlimited. So in other words, Israel will spend an unlimited amount of money to stop Congressman Massie from becoming a senator of Kentucky. What do you make of that?
One particular instance. But I think the American people, I do honestly think, guys, I think things are changing. I think the old boomers who were sitting there, Israel, I think that era is coming to an end. And that's why they want to do things like cut out TikTok and the others. I think if you look at polls, if you look at how younger people are responding, do you want to continue to keep sending military aid to Israel? The young people, it's way past 50%, including Republicans. So the tone of the country is changing. I think it would be a fascinating battle to see, Netanyahu and Massie versus AIPAC and the rest of, what have you, And so I don't know if I were Massie, I don't know if I would have the fortitude to take on the attacks that are going to come, because they're going to be massive and they're going to be extremely nasty. But
it won't be new, though.
It's not necessarily a right-wing state. They've got a lefty governor. So I think it would be very complex. But, if anything, I spent over 10 years on the Hill. And, if anything, Thomas Massie sort of soft-pedaled the influence that AIPAC has. I recall sitting through meetings in the Foreign Affairs Committee among staffers, and they would say, don't worry, AIPAC wrote this bill. This is okay. Your bosses won't have a problem with this. So they literally wrote all the legislation when it came to that. And nobody batted an eye when they said that. They actually sighed a sigh of relief. Okay, I can tell my boss this is a green light bill. The AIPAC wrote it. So it's,
can you imagine? We're all it's madness, because can you imagine if we heard, the Chinese Communist